Okay. Okay, Jamie, we are live on YouTube.
Okay. So welcome everyone. My name is Jane Marie Kapitsanakis. I'm happy to be here with you tonight as traffic and transit chair this evening for our community board meeting. We're welcoming lots of neighbors into our office tonight, and I understand we have lots on YouTube as well. So we want to welcome everyone. Okay. All right. Great. We do have a busy agenda this evening, and our first order of business to be discussed tonight.
What? And the meeting is on, please.
Presentation by representatives of Zavarian High School regarding their new school traffic plan, and I'm going to welcome Walter Capis. Welcome.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Reason we're here today is to kind of fulfill a promise we made to the community board, the traffic committee, about 6 months ago or so, when we sought endorsement from the zoning committee for a board of standard and appeal approval for a variance to construct an expansion on an existing wing of our building. We reported to the committee in April that we were still in the process of implementing our plan. The plan that we'll share with you shortly is something that was also requested not only by the community board and the traffic committee, but also by the New York City Board of Standards and Appeals and their commissioners. So we're happy that we've been able to fulfill that request for everyone. I would say our plan is just about fully implemented, and it aligned properly with the start of our construction project, which was on May 15th. I know the plan is being displayed now. I'll just kind of walk through it in its general state. The objectives were to provide safety not only for students but local pedestrians and any sort of street crossings during both our arrival and dismissal times, which can be a little bit hectic for a school, as well as try to provide the best means of operational traffic flow and anything we can do to mitigate double parking, honking, noises, anything like that. So what we've put together, and I think it was well appreciated by the Board of Standards of Appeal and hopefully by the community board as well. We have a plan that's it's kind of self-created, and some new positions were put in place at the school where we incorporated a safety committee, some crossing guards, some redirecting of school buses, and in connection with the construction project, a dedicated site safety manager at the entrance of a construction site. So just to kind of walk through it, on each of our corners, we kind of go north and south, McKay Place to 71st Street, and west to east, Shore Road to Narrows Avenue. And on each four of those corners, you're going to see the index on the right there indicate a blue dot, which is a crossing guard. We put those individuals there both at our arrival times and our dismissal times to make sure that there's safe movement of pedestrian traffic across the street. In addition, the red triangles identify a created safety team by the school. Those are individuals. They could be anyone from a building prefect to a teacher to an administrator who dedicate some time both during the arrival periods and dismissal periods, where they're stationed 2 individuals on each block, one on McKay Place, one on Narrows Avenue, one on 71st Street, and one on Shore Road. And what their goal was to try to do is to help just facilitate the movement of our students and pedestrians if needed. And at any means, without confrontation, trying to move parents along that may be double parked, or mitigate any traffic that they can, just to keep the block flowing as best they possibly can. In addition, the site safety manager is making sure that there's no kind of construction activity, which is at the center of the block on Narrows Avenue. We've worked as best we possibly can to kind of shift the pickup locations for our private busing of students directly on Shore Road, and limited some of them on Narrows Avenue, again, just to offer the best possible flow of traffic we possibly can. There's concerns that Shore Road at times become like a one-way street. We've kind of pushed pickup locations further on down on the non-residential side of Shore Road, similarly on Narrows, to try to mitigate that as best we possibly can. And additionally, with the construction site occupying our parking lot, we've mitigated concerns about any local parking. We are fully engaged in agreement with Pro Park, who is a facilitator of parking, offsite parking at the Brooklyn Army Terminal. That's facilitated by the New York City Department of New York City EDC. They run the BAT, and they've hired Pro Park to facilitate their parking. So we're engaged for the next year. We have a 1-year engagement with them for 50 parking spots that will be used to have our employees park there, so that we kind of mitigate parking issues locally. We're providing a shuttle to and from for our employees. There are 3 runs in the morning and 2 runs in the afternoon, and that's been in place. It started this week, and we believe that it's going to relieve some of the parking pressures within the street itself. We've also, and it's not listed on this plan, but we have staggered dismissals, and I think we've seen some really good benefits of that. We have a middle school 6 to 8 and a high school 9 to 12. We have dismissed middle school students at 2:15 through 20, and then we're giving them 10 minutes to kind of disperse, and then we do our high school dismissal at 2:30. That's one of the things that has been new, and we kind of see some good benefits from that, just from the stagger of dismissals, getting cars moving, rather than having 6 grades coming out at once. We only have 3 and then 4. We've been in touch with the 68 precinct as much as we can. We have a great working relationship with them. We're always in contact, just to, from a safety standpoint, and they've been as present as often as possible to also help try, mitigate double parking and anything from a traffic standpoint. And when we saw the endorsement of the zoning committee, we had shared that it was a 2-phase project that could last, 2+ years. We've kind of revisited that, and we're happy to report too. It should be welcomed that the project is now seeking a 16 to 18 month window, less than 2 years, and it's going to be phased. So we're only doing kind of part 1 first. We're going to take a step back. So that should certainly alleviate some of the concerns about the duration of what we have here. And then I would just say in conclusion that, when we put this together and had this in place now for about a month, we're certainly seeing the benefits of it. And I think it's something that not only will be a part of what we do during our, the intense construction period, but something that will carry forward into the future beyond construction, to try to help, be as cordial as we can with the neighbors. I'm happy to answer any questions, but I think seeing 3 weeks of this in place, I make a point myself to try to be out there daily just to see how this is flowing, and it seems to be working well, and we'll continue to try to refine it and see what else we can do to help in any way.
And Mr. Capisse, I know that too, the board as well as the variant did request the MTA to do a study of rerouting the bus, and as we know, they responded back saying that there's going to be a pause. They're not going to do any studies until after the bus redesign, and there's some construction at Bay Ridge Prep is
So there was 2 city buses that come down 71st Street, which can certainly offer some traffic. And the study was requested to try to reroute them very similarly, just going down Bay Ridge Avenue. Perhaps the construction at another school right on the corner there of Shore Road and 75th could be the reason they're not going to investigate that. But at some point, we hope that can be facilitated, and that would certainly alleviate a lot. It makes a lot of sense.
So, as our usual, we'll ask for board members who have questions first, both board members who are in person and online, and then we would take any other questions we have. Just as we get started, you mentioned about the staggered dismissal. Is there any stagger then in arrival, or is that all at one time?
Arrival generally is staggered. It's just the nature of an arrival at a school. Students have to be in and report by 8:25, 8:30, but it's the arrival buses are coming from different routes, different locations within the immediate boroughs, so they're arriving at different times.
So it's not necessarily by grade level, but that there's a window of time from.
There's a window of time. You will have students being dropped. I was going to say from 7:30 to right up against 8:30. Yes. So generally speaking, it's in a staggered fashion.
Right, and you did mention that there were the staggered dismissal for the different grade levels.
Mhm.
Approximately how many students? I mean, I'm assuming that you're
In the middle school,
the middle school.
yep, in the middle school, we're in the, 280 to 300 students.
Mhm.
And then the staggered dismissal at the high school level, certainly more, that would be, in the upper hundreds, but with extracurricular activities, sports and everything like that, it's not like, there's a extremely, not every single enrolled student is leaving at the same time.
So with sports and clubs,
Correct.
that may be staggered on different days depending on different activities that are happening around.
So no, at one point, if there were 1,000 enrollees,
Right.
1,000 students aren't leaving all at
Right,
once,
right.
to say the least, yeah.
Right. Maybe the last day of school.
Maybe the last thing, that's coming soon.
Okay, so can I ask our board members in person?
Well, two quick things. I'm gonna go with the nice thing I'm gonna say first. I appreciate the fact that you created that shuttle service
Mhm.
because parking in Bay Ridge is a horror. And I think taking the weight off those teachers, that they can park, a distance, get a bus going and coming is probably a big relief. And it probably saved you a lot of
It
reservations.
is, and it's an investment for us, and that's just something that I mentioned because it shows our care for it.
Yeah.
It certainly helps them, to your point, but the ultimate goal is to not only provide for our employees, but to try to just lessen the stress around the neighborhood.
Yeah, 'cause the first thing I think about, a lot of the teachers are parents themselves and they gotta get their kids off and now to have to go somewhere else and park and during, the cold weather, I really appreciate that effort. And the other is, how does it work out for parents that may have kids in different grade levels? If they're dropping somebody off for high school and then you have a young one, is there like somewhere they?
So the drop off would be seamless, and they can drop them off at any time, they can both get out. I think, from a staggered, if you had somebody both in middle school and high school, they would be the one that might have to just linger a little bit longer if there was a pickup point. If there was an enrollee that was in middle school and high school, and they were taking a private bus, that would be the same time, that bus would leave. It's not a perfect world, but
Yeah,
it certainly has mitigated, it mitigated
No,
also
for the
whole bunch
parent that is picking up kids that are leaving, say, at two different times.
Mm.
Is there somewhere for the kids to, maybe for the high schooler to hang out somewhere while the young?
Yes, there is.
Oh, okay.
There is. Absolutely. Yeah. There's plenty of common area spaces where they can wait. And we encourage that too, rather than lingering around, outside when it's a little bit of a hectic time, to just wait till your, sibling or whomever it might be.
Good job.
Thank you.
I also think that there's a lot of good stuff in this
Mhm.
plan, and I really appreciate you sort of taking your promise back in September very seriously and putting a lot of thought into this plan. The only issue I have with it, and this is speaking as someone who lives on 74th Street and Shore Road, is the bus staging seems essentially the same as what it is now. And my experience of the buses along Shore Road is that they are all parked in the bike lane, which of course causes problems if you're trying to bike through there, but it also blocks in cars that are parked there. And it does turn Shore Road into basically a one-way street, during arrivals and dismissals. And I was just wondering if you could give that some more thought. If you could figure out some way to stage those buses, maybe at the Brooklyn Army Terminal, or somewhere else until they're needed. I think that would be.
I stress that we're going to continue to look at everything. I
Yeah.
think it's important. What we have done, it may not be noticeable because I understand it can be a chaotic 15 minutes. And I think I'd be lying if I didn't say that that is a fact of the matter. But it does clear pretty quickly, to take some solace. What we've had asked the providers to do is if they were to align for pickups at 2:00, we've asked them to try to get there as late as they possibly can, so that we're limiting the amount of time that they are there. I know it may not seem like a lot, but they were kind of closer to the main entrance of our building, which is on 71st and Shore Road. And we had asked them to kind of move further towards 75th a little bit and more further towards 69th a little bit to prevent that one-way seamless. But again, I know what you mean.
It's tough when there's not a lot of
then there's a
room.
second, then you have there's just compounding problems there. I will say that, we're aware of it and it is for all of about 15 minutes, 20 minutes, maybe max. So, but we will certainly look into it for sure. Yeah, I think, the benefits of what we're seeing really early on at the Brooklyn Army Terminal have us thinking of lots of different things. So,
I think that, I'll just say, I think that is a
yeah,
brilliant move
Yeah.
to utilize that
Yeah.
space over there, so.
we're happy to be
Yeah.
engaged. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doris?
Cause I'm just curious, how many private buses are there and what size are they? Are they full size or vans?
So they are not all full size.
But how many are there of both types?
Right now. I want to say we have approximately 19 full size and about 7 to 8 mid-size. What we've tried to do with them is also put some full size and some, we've tried to mix them up from a staging standpoint so that they don't cause too much, too much, they don't take up too much space, to say the least. Obviously, the mid-size is going to take up a little bit less. And we're as cognizant of that as possible, but there are, the majority of them are on Shore Road, and about 7 to 8 are staged on Narrows Avenue. And again, they're there for a very short amount of time.
But that's a lot of buses.
It's a lot of kids in the school,
All right, thank you. Larry? Larry, you're on mute.
Yes, you say these buses and minibuses, are there one operator or several? How many are there?
We have 2 contracted operators,
And their names are?
DeVille Bus and Scholastic Transportation.
They're the regular yellow school buses or?
They're yellow school
Yeah.
buses. We've been contracted with DeVille for over 10 years and Scholastic for the last 3 years, just to try to diversify our
They're marked as school buses though, the yellow chrome,
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
okay, thank you. Stephanie Mahaney?
Yes, thank you. As the chair of the zoning committee, I would like to thank you for coming back to us this evening and for, I appreciate all of your attentiveness to our concerns and your efforts to resolve so many of these traffic issues. And I do hope that even after the construction is complete, you will continue these efforts and continue to pay attention to any hazards on the road. Thank you.
I'm rather certain that will happen. Like I said, we're happy to have this in place specifically initially for the construction project, but there are certainly a lot of benefits we're seeing and really learning ourselves. So I'm sure this is something that's going to be in place for the future for sure.
Great.
Okay, great, thank you.
Okay.
All right, Jane, that's
All
it.
right, thank you. Any other?
No, go ahead.
Okay, did we have any other questions from the public online or no?
No.
No. Okay,
Okay.
and I think we're okay in this room as
Yes.
well.
Nice
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Coming, we appreciate having this communication and
Absolutely.
dialogue.
And I can tell you,
Mm,
you guys have my contact
Yes, we
information.
do.
We're happy to, at any point, help you and
Great.
answer any questions we can,
Thank
or
you
address
so-
any issues.
Thank
okay?
you so much.
Here, please.
Will
be in
do,
touch so
absolutely.
that we can, once again, we've been good neighbors and.
We love the collaboration.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you, thank you.
Have a good rest of your meeting.
Okay,
All right.
all right,
Thank
number
you so much.
next.
All right. All right, so yes. So next, we're going to be having a presentation by the Department of Transportation. Excuse me, sir. I'm sorry, the microphones capture everything, so sorry. So we have a presentation by the Department of Transportation representatives in coordination with MTA Bridges and Tunnels regarding traffic changes to improve safety at Doll Green Place, 92nd Street, Fort Hamilton Parkway, including the exit ramps onto 92nd. And I believe that a lot of our community members are really concerned about these issues. So we really thank you for coming here to present with everyone. If you could kindly introduce yourselves, we'd appreciate it.
Good evening. My name is Rose Pascone. I cover government and community relations for MTA Bridges and Tunnels, not DOT, along with Joyce Mulvaney, who unfortunately could not join us tonight. So we're here because back in November, we had come before the board to introduce the now ongoing work that you see above John J. Carty Park on the Brooklyn ramps of the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. So during that presentation, and please excuse my voice, I'm dealing with allergies. Some community concerns came up. So these are facility adjacent concerns, not necessarily, relating to the actual structure. But this is something that we do care about because not only does it impact the community, but it also impacts our customers. With that said, I will hand it over to Eris, who will continue to introduce staff.
So good evening, everyone. I'm Eris Staphopoulos, Deputy Chief Engineer with MTA Bridges and Tunnels. I was here back in November, and if you recall, I presented on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge project. During that meeting, several residents came up to me and others in the area, and they were very concerned about the congestion of Dahlgren Place and the 92nd Street intersection. We have similar concerns because the fact is that during peak travel periods, that throughput through that intersection is less than optimal. And the traffic not only is a safety concern for the local streets, but it's a safety concern for our bridge. Because as traffic backs up on Dahlgren, it also backs up on our ramps. And as it backs up on our ramps, it's not an ideal safety situation for our customers, primarily because as traffic queues on the exit ramps of the upper and lower level of the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, and the free-flowing traffic that's adjacent to going towards the Gowanus, as you know, New Yorkers are not very patient people, and they don't wait as they should in the queues, and they cut in last minute. In certain instances, that could cause collisions. So we have been looking at this issue very seriously, and I have been working with our team, and we've collaborated with the New York City Department of Transportation to come up with a solution. And I'm happy to say that they have come up with a solution, and that's what we're here to present today. And we think, I've looked at it, I've evaluated what they've come up with. I think it's going to be a very effective solution, not only for the local streets, but also for the operation of our facilities. And we have here Roger Weld. I'm going to introduce Roger Weld, who's the lead engineer that's been looking at this, and he's been working with Gregory Haas of New York City DOT, and they will be taking over, and they have a presentation to present to you what they've come up with. So with that, I'll turn it over to Roger.
Roger on. Still. Can you hear me okay? Yeah, we're here now, Roger.
Can you also?
All right, excellent. Roger Weld. I used to be with New York City, or with New York City Department of Transportation a couple of years ago. I'm working more recently with Thornton Tomasetti, and I've collaborated very closely with New York City Department of Transportation on developing this solution, which I know has been an ongoing problem for the community and the bridge. And so I'm going to share my screen here and
Roger, I got it here.
Okay. Is it all right if I control it?
Oh, yeah. If you.
Okay. Can you see me okay?
No. Give up the share screen and let him share.
Yeah.
I don't know how to share the screen in this one.
Can you see me okay?
Not yet, Roger. We're working on it.
Okay.
And while they work on that, please feel free to ask any questions that you may have.
Try to change the screen.
Or you can save it for the end. Either way, it is just fine.
Well, you did say that it's bad to the traffic, the community. It also causes car accidents. At least once a week, there's a car accident.
I think we hit stop the share.
You can go either left, you gotta go right, you gotta turn.
You're absolutely correct.
And we were telling it to the.
What if we stop sharing?
And they were for the longest time denying that there was accidents in that corner.
But it's
And
this
finally,
thing
they
you
have
see.
to admit it, considering there's one car right now totally demolished. Front and back, sitting on
I don't know.
the-
I normally have Teams, so it's different. from
Yeah.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Good.
To see.
You have to basically just show your Zoom. I think you were showing whatever you were presenting earlier. You
Yeah.
just have
Yeah,
to
I'm just
you
gonna
have to make
stop
Zoom
the
front and
share.
center. You shouldn't be sharing. I'm sharing on the meeting, so I should be controlling it, but you have to show Zoom. if you guys need to control it, it's okay too. Like that would be all right. I can just kind of like
I'll go back to him.
work it on my end too, just to see
Yeah.
the presentation. But
It's him.
Yeah, let's see.
Try clicking him. Now we can see you. We'll see if
No,
you
we
put-
can't see you
Oh.
here.
I can see the slideshow.
Mhm.
yeah, we can see it on our end. You need to just show Zoom as your application, or the whatever, if you have a web
Okay,
browser
go into
showing it
the
or
deck.
whatever.
Go into the deck,
Yes.
screen 2, screen 1,
Can you pull it up from PowerPoint?
from here.
Yes.
Yeah, but Roger's trying to share his screen so he can mark it up.
Okay.
That's the problem. I can share my screen, what I have. Roger, it might just be easier if we just share our deck.
Okay, yeah, that's totally
Oh,
fine.
hold on.
Okay, hold on.
We
Bring
see
up
him at
Roger.
the back.
Yeah, we see him in the back. So
Oh.
let's exit out
Yeah,
of the top screen,
yeah.
the screen.
Close these other ones out.
There we go.
Maybe here, wait, stop sharing.
There we go. That's the one.
Okay, right, there we go.
Whew. All right. All right. This is, yeah, I would be there in person if I could. I apologize. I'm traveling right now. So it's actually a little after midnight here where I am right now, but so it's a late one. But this is a normal situation and the AM peak for the backups that are happening in this area. And it's a problem not only for the bridge, but for the people that live in this local community as well. Where they have to deal with that congestion and also the air quality that's associated with the backups and everything. And I think we have a really good solution to solve all this, but kind of lay it out for you. So the existing conditions are you have 3 lanes that are associated with this intersection currently, and you have this buffered out area on the right that is basically used to enhance the turns, but isn't really necessary to do that, we found out. And you also have a crosswalk here that's protected phase. So it's made safe for everyone to be able to cross that at all times. And we want to retain that. That's not going to change at all. So that's not going to be messed with in any way. What we're proposing doing here is, first of all, you have a through capacity limit. You only have 1 lane that is going through right now. And you have about 800, it's over 800 vehicles that want to do that during AM peak. And these lanes can handle not even 500. So you're basically almost doubling the need is about double what the actual capacity is in that lane. So you have some problems both with capacity where it's backing up, and then as a result of that, collisions that are happening on the Verrazano Narrows Bridge as well. So it's a big safety factor for the bridge. And then you also have, in addition, when cars come off the lower level of the Verrazano Narrows, there's a very short distance. There's only a couple hundred feet that are between where that exit ramp on the lower level lets out and the intersection. And what's happening right now is if anybody wants to make a right turn that's coming off the lower level, they have to cross over 2 lanes in order to make it into the right turn bay to be able to make that turn. And that's also an additional source of collisions and congestion because that's also bottlenecking the through movement. So what we're proposing in terms of the changes are remove and replace striping on Dahlgren Place approach to 92nd Street. And this would add a single lane for through and left turning traffic to reduce congestion. So right now you just have this through lane. And then the proposal is where we're adding another lane that would basically take over that shoulder space on the right side that was hatched out. And you're able to fit in 4 lanes in this area. And this lane that's added would be both through and left. And then we'd be adding crossover prevention to restrict this lower level ramp from being able to make a right turn onto 92nd Street. So the right turn could only be made from the upper level. So you don't have that crossover problem. And then in order to do this, you have no standing signs, 6 a.m. through 11 a.m. Monday through Friday for 6 vehicles, 6 parking spaces, which is basically around this area where the orange
You can stop
is
here.
here.
Just one moment.
He's saying, I don't understand, he's saying that there'll be no right turns only from the upper level? Like, I don't understand what he's saying.
No, there would only be right turns from the upper level.
can
You
only
couldn't do
have
the
one
right
upper
turn
level
from the
with
lower
right
level.
turn. Okay, sorry.
Could you repeat that?
Sure. The lower level will be restricted for making the right turn on 92nd. So if you want to make the right turn, you have to be on the upper level to make it, because the upper level is quite a bit further behind the lower level in terms of where it enters in, where you have an additional 100 feet and your lane over, your lane shifted from where the lower level comes in. So you don't have that far to shift. You only need to go over, it's still moving over 2 lanes, but you don't have all that interference with the through anymore. So it's a lot cleaner. So the lower level
Roger,
can make
let me just stop you there for a second. So just
sure.
help explain it a little bit more. So the fact is there's only 1 lane that allows through traffic from Dahlgren to go on continuous straight.
We live on that.
That's the middle.
Yes,
Yeah,
the middle lane, yes, we know
The
that.
right lane requires all vehicles to make a right. The left lane
Yes.
requires all vehicles. The amount of traffic volume that goes in the morning, the majority of the traffic that we've identified that uses this intersection wants to go straight. Right? They want to go through 92nd Street and continue on, but there's not enough capacity in 1 lane. By adding a second lane that goes straight, it solves the problem. That allows that for every traffic signal interphase, it allows the intersection to completely clear during the traffic peak period. What's currently happening in the morning, especially in the morning and in the peak period in the afternoon and sometimes on weekends, when there's really high volume, every phase of the intersection, a few cars get held up. And then the next phase, a few more cars get held up. And then before you know it, the entire street is backed up all the way back to the bridge. This solves that problem because it has enough capacity now for all the vehicles that are going straight to clear them out.
Going to block the other 2 lanes from not going into the right lane.
Good question.
Is it gonna be a wall or something? How
No,
is that
good
gonna
question. So Roger, can you explain in showing the screen the divider that you're proposing?
I don't have an image of it handy, but it's quick curb and it's used all over the city as a way to prevent vehicles from crossing over lanes that the DOT doesn't want people to cross for whatever reason. It's used pretty commonly throughout the city. And what it is this kind of like a curb-like plastic. And then it has these delineators that are mounted to the top of it periodically.
Can you show on the screen where it starts, the quick curve, where it starts and where it ends?
Sure. It would start right here, roughly. It's just
Can you all
after.
see the mouse?
No.
Can you see my mouse?
Oh, it's here.
But I'm asking, is that the stop sign that's here there now? Is that what?
Yes, approximately right there.
Where the stop sign is?
Yeah.
That nobody stops at.
Yeah, this is the beginning of it. It would be back in here, and then it would go all the way through to the intersection. Whoops, sorry. We'll bring that back up.
What about parking? We're taking it away. Take away the parking?
Can you go over the no standing again, please, Roger?
Sure. There'd be a no standing regulation between 6 and 11 a.m. To allow this right turn bay to lengthen.
So you'd be taking away our parking.
Can we just let him finish the presentation?
Ask a question.
Let him finish. and then you can
Well,
ask a
let's take
question.
it.
Let's have water, please. Thank you.
And then over on this side, you have no standing anytime. So this would be permanent loss. Like this is between specific hours, Monday through Friday, that is in front of the houses. And then on the bridge, to facilitate the dual lefts here, to make sure they're clear of the bus when they're making the turn. There would be no standing any time for about 6 vehicles on the bridge. That would be a permanent parking reg. So the pros and cons to this. A pro is safety improvement through preventing unsafe weave where the distance is too short for the right. Basically, when you come off the lower level of the bridge, it's just not enough room to weave over that distance to make the right turn without creating safety problems. And then it's also solving another safety issue through preventing backups onto the Verrazano Narrows. And then you also have reduced congestion on Dahlgren Place, which improves traffic flow for residents and exiting vehicles from the Verrazano Narrows Bridge. So right now, if you live on that street, you're caught in the same traffic. You get stuck where you can't move during that morning peak, where it takes signal cycles for you to be able to exit out. And then as a result of this, it would be basically where every single phase you should clear and everybody should get out. And then you have less air pollution from idling vehicles as well, because you won't have cars just sitting there. And then on the negative side, the right turn from 92nd Street from the upper level ramp only. So you won't be able to make that turn from the lower level anymore. It's really a safety benefit because right now it's an unsafe move that's happening, and this would prevent that unsafe move from happening. And then you have the parking reduction on both 92nd Street for 6 cars and restrictions on Dahlgren Place Monday through Friday from 6 a.m. to 11 a.m. for 6 cars. There's another issue here we can go through that got brought up at the Transportation Committee meeting, but I just wanted to ask if there were any questions on this part of the proposal first.
We're saying to the right, why don't do reverse? There is no parking on the left side. There's no parking, there is no homes. Why can't that lane be the lane that can only turn left? And the middle lane and the right lane can either go straight or turn right. When there is parking and people do live there and they're gonna have to get out of their car to let somebody out and back up traffic. So there is no parking on the left side. So why can't you reverse it and have the left side only let, and then everybody else on the lower level? On the lower level can only turn left. The upper level, why can't you do that?
That is what we're doing.
No, you're doing it the other way. You're doing the right way. You're doing the only.
Can you, Roger,
right
can you?
side,
Go back one,
upper level.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Let me go backwards here.
So if I can show you on the screen here, and I'm going to be pointing.
Okay.
So this left lane that comes from the lower level, this is the lower level, is left open. It'll make a left.
Is the one that's on the right side right now?
It's right here, the lower level.
It's the lower level.
This is the
Okay.
lower level. So cars
Okay.
coming off the lower level are gonna be
That's our
on
houses.
left only. So that's
Okay.
across the street from the homes.
Okay.
Right.
The upper level exits much further back.
Yes.
And they'll be able to go either straight or right or left. So there's gonna be this quick curve here. In this, that will restrict vehicles from the lower level to cut across these lanes and cause accidents and won't be able to make a right.
Then why would we be losing parking?
Because
spots
they're
when
gonna
it's
take the
happening?
parking
So-
lane away.
It's now.
Yeah, Yeah,
No.
so on this here, we're talking about the morning peak now. So between 6 a.m. and 11 a.m., there's 6 spots that you won't be able to park. And that's from here to here. And that's in order to allow traffic, because it's high volume of traffic, to make a safe right turn without blocking all the other traffic on the block, right? So it'll free flow. We recognize there's a trade-off here, right?
Yeah.
We're recognizing that there's 6 spots that are being taken away. So there's definitely a trade-off, but it's also a safety issue. Currently, we have a safety problem, we have a congestion problem, and this is a solution. And sometimes there's trade-offs that you have to make decisions.
Before we go further, can I just ask if there were any committee members who had questions before we proceed? Anybody here, anybody online?
Yeah.
Can you just double check?
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, we have 4 people with their hands raised. Stephanie, Simone Mahady?
Yes, thank you. Just a quick clarification. I think you just said it. Coming off the top level, you can go either left, straight, or right. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Oh, okay. What happens when the upper level is closed? Because that tends to happen, and depending on the weather, there are no options. You'll have all of the traffic coming off on the lower level.
So we don't close the lower level during the daytime or at peak traffic periods. It's rarely that we'll close the upper level. It's only closed for emergencies, right? And if there's an emergency, like let's say
Wind.
wind,
Wind.
right?
Yes.
We don't just close the upper level, we close both levels because it's unsafe to cross the bridge. Now, when we do work on the bridge at night, we do have level closures. So at night, if we do have the upper level closed, right?
Okay.
We have it, the upper level closed at night. There's not going to be traffic flowing from the upper level across here. So there will be a temporary MPT plan that contractors that we have that close the level will put a sign to allow vehicles from the lower level to safely make a right here.
Okay.
But that's typically when we do that, our light closures are late at night when traffic is very light. We don't close the level when we have high traffic demand. Under normal operating conditions. As I said, in an emergency, it may get closed, but that's very rare. And it's usually when we have very high winds.
Yes.
If there is windy conditions on the bridge, we typically, the restrictions are we restrict trucks depending on the conditions from coming across the bridge because they're more vulnerable to wind. But if the winds go over a certain velocity, and if it goes over 50, I don't recall, it's 50 miles an hour, I believe we actually close the bridge.
Okay, and just quickly, where will the signage be for drivers so that they know which level to take?
Those signs are going to be permanent signs all the way back before they even get onto the bridge to let them know
Okay.
that if you're getting onto the lower level, you will not be able to make a right on 92nd Street. So we need to tell the customers before they even get to the upper or lower level, all the way on the other side, on the Staten Island side. There'll be signage, permanent signage there.
We have.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Online to
Yes,
follow up.
Doris?
Yes. When there is heavy traffic on the Belt Parkway or on the entrance to the Belt Parkway, many people get off and turn onto 92nd Street and go to the Bay 8th Street exit to get to the Belt Parkway.
Yes.
So now the people on the lower level will not be able to do that. And sometimes they don't know how bad the traffic is until they're well onto the bridge.
Yeah, well, and if you recall, I'm not sure if you're in the meeting back in November when we presented the reconstruction of the Belt Parkway ramps. And we are in the middle of that project now. It's underway and we just started. That's a complete reconstruction of the Belt Parkway ramps. That will largely solve that problem because
I don't see it happening when I get on the Belt Parkway.
well, we haven't completed the project yet. We just started. So we are reconfiguring the exit ramps from the Verrazano Bridge to the Belt Parkway. Currently, they're left-hand exits, the way they're redesigned back in the 60s. And they were designed for the traffic volume of the 1960s. They're not designed for current standards and for current volumes. We are completely redesigning and reconstructing those exit ramps. They're going to be right-hand exit ramps. And there's going to be they're going to be improved to current standards and traffic flow will be improved and the traveling speed of traffic going around the horseshoe is going to improve. Sight distance is going to improve. We're going to have shoulders that are currently not there. So if there's a breakdown or a vehicle collision on these ramps, all traffic gets backed up onto the bridge. So by reconstructing these roadways and making them to current standards, that'll largely solve that problem. So that what we want to do is keep highway traffic on the highway and keep them from getting off and bypassing the highway onto local streets. So we're investing $500 million into the reconstruction of these ramps to largely solve that problem, because we recognize this is an issue for the operations of the bridge. It's a huge safety improvement to our customers, but it's also a community benefit because it largely prevents or doesn't prevents these diversions that we have when there are big backups on the Belt Parkway ramps. Now, many of you may already know that there was a project that was recently completed where we added a fourth lane from the bridge to the Belt Parkway. That was an investment that MTA did, and we completed that project recently. That's gone a long way with improving traffic flow from the bridge to the Belt Parkway, because that was being choked off, the traffic that was merging with the Belt Parkway, and it was backing up onto our ramp and backing up to the bridge, causing diversions to the local streets. So that was the first phase of this investment that we made. And now we're doing the second phase, which is reconstructing these ramps. Once all these improvements are completed, we expect that this issue is going to be largely mitigated. I hope that answers your question.
I have one question on C9 though. Right, I think folks, we're gonna finish with the board members and then I promise you I'll come right back.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
This is Greg from DOT. I just to reemphasize what was just said. If you cannot, there's a lot of drivers that use the lower level and they want to go to the belt, and instead of taking the belt exit, they take that shortcut on 92nd Street through the local streets. If you're not allowed to do that anymore, then less people will be taking that shortcut through the neighborhood. So in a way, that aspect of it is a kind of a blessing in disguise, because drivers will stay on the highway instead of going through the local streets.
That's a very good point, Greg.
Yeah. So Dino Hattis?
Hi. Yeah. So I like that you guys are addressing safety. That whole intersection is a mess. But from what I'm hearing so far, I don't know if you have anything else, in your presentation, but it's, safety for vehicles and people in traffic, not for pedestrians. And just to remind everybody, there was a pedestrian fatality caused by a DOT truck at that intersection at Dahlgren and 92nd. And there was an 86-year-old man who was hit by a DOT truck. So as of right now, I don't think there's any improvements in safety, like an LPI or, there's no daylighting, there's nothing. And by taking away that, or by adding that turn lane, the right turn lane, you're putting more vehicles into potential conflicts with pedestrians. I think a good example, you could look at Union Street towards, heading towards Eastern Parkway. If you ever walk down that way, there's cars, zooming by and, inches away from you as you're trying to just walk down the sidewalk. So, there's a lot of safety issues here. And I know you guys are trying to, reduce car accidents, but also, pedestrian safety is something that should be really taken into consideration.
There was a major safety improvement made. Greg can actually explain it more. He was involved in it.
Yeah, right now, and I don't know if I can point, but I could show you how the signal timing works. Each one of those 3 crosswalks are completely protected from turning vehicles. When I point to the north crosswalk, first of all.
Well, there is no north here. This is
north is to our right.
Oh, to the right? Okay.
Yeah, when that crosswalk is walk, all traffic movements are red. So if nobody jaywalks, that you don't have to worry about cars turning into it. And now if you could point to the east crosswalk, the long one, which is on the bottom, that one there, similarly, when that crosswalk is walk, there is a green ball for the northbound, but there's a red right arrow. So that crosswalk also is completely protected. In other words, when that east crosswalk is walk, the northbound right is always a red arrow, always. And the south crosswalk doesn't have any cars turning into it. So, in short, if everybody pays attention to the pedestrian signal, which I know people don't, then you never have to worry about cars turning into you if you obey this signal.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I mean, I didn't realize there was an LPI or something like it there. I guess
It's actually what we call a split phase, where it's totally split. The northbound right occurs on a totally different phase than that east crosswalk.
I would just also want to add that, you know, the comment that we did receive from a member of the public, they mentioned how, you know, chaotic it is to just exist as a pedestrian in that area, and how, you know, pedestrians routinely get honked at and almost hit. So, you know, pedestrian safety really does need to be improved in that area. So, yes.
The split phase that is there is really helpful to that end. It basically makes it so that the cars can't be legally turning at the same time the people can legally be crossing. So when you have that walk signal, you are fully protected. There's no ability for, I mean, illegally, I guess, but I mean, as long as people are following the traffic signal, there's no conflicts there where you're going to have vehicles turning at the same time people are trying to cross.
Yeah, the problem, there is a phase where it's green. The northbound is green with a green arrow, but during that phase, the east crosswalk is don't walk. And certainly pedestrians do jaywalk during that phase. So that's the danger. People not paying attention, pedestrians not paying attention to the pedestrian signal during that phase. That's the problem. Not much we can do about that.
Yeah. Okay. Larry Stelter?
Yes. Two questions. How are you going to enforce the no parking on Dahlgren Park, no standing on Dahlgren Place? Is that going to be city DOT agents, or how is that going to be done?
All the enforcement is through NYPD and traffic enforcement. Yes.
Traffic enforcement. It's not going to be MTA, TBA, police, and no. It's just
no. It's standard traffic regs for New York City streets.
And also, did you consider eliminating the crosswalk right on the south? The south side of the intersection, just eliminating that altogether, because you could not. You walk across it just across the bridge. It's just.
Well, there's no reason to eliminate it, because there's never, cars can't turn into it. Cars can go northbound through into it, but that one's a pretty safe one.
When 92nd Street has the green, then Dahlgren is red, then this crosswalk doesn't have any interference.
Right.
Everyone can cross freely.
Right.
Okay,
that's an idea.
Stephanie?
Yes, I just wanted to make a comment about the quick curb. I've seen it used elsewhere, and particularly at the entrance of the Belt Parkway along 4th Avenue. And it existed for a while, and now it's gone, because I think every week the separators were knocked down. And so this concerns me, because I don't see where you can really enforce or necessarily prevent people from trying to go from the lower level and trying to merge right. Or prevent them necessarily from making illegal turns. I see it now where the road or the street that goes straight, many cars will go out into the intersection and then turn left when they're not supposed to. So I still have lingering concerns about the safety controls here. I just wanted to raise that. Thank you.
Okay.
Quick
I
curb
want to reinforce that.
Okay, thank you.
Stephanie, you're probably right, especially at first, before drivers are used to it. We expect we're going to have to replace it pretty frequently at first, but once drivers get used to it, hopefully it'll stay there for a longer time. But yeah, you're absolutely right, until drivers get used to it.
Okay,
I think the members of the public have been waiting, and I thank you for that. And you will see this on a daily basis, and your perspective is really important to us. So thank you for waiting. If you want to start the gentleman on the
We
end.
have to go first. Let's ask
I
our
thought they
question.
finished.
No.
I thought we finished with all of our.
Oh, you are.
Yeah, he had his hand up.
I'm sorry, I thought you had spoken
No
already.
problem. No, he
I
has-
apologize, and I thought you were signaling me for the gentleman here. I'm sorry.
No
I just
problem.
have a quick little question.
Okay.
Jump here, please.
My question is, do we have any cameras there?
Speed cameras.
Yes, we have a
I-
camera
that was-
on
yeah.
92nd Street.
Not on dog.
Not on
Oh,
Dog,
92nd.
which they would make a lot of money if it was on Dog. 92nd Street.
There is on Dogren going down towards the
Past-
6th Street.
Power Crack, going toward Power
On
Crack.
Battery is, yeah.
Speed
That- do they allow more than one camera in a corner like that? Or high volume?
There's certain percent, distance requirements. We could ask DOT.
Okay.
That's
a DOT
DOT question.
Yeah,
David?
because I think I heard you say twice, if people are following the rules, nobody's following the rules, drivers, scooters, bikes, but then everybody's doing what, they just want to get to where they're going. So the first thing that came to mind is if there's cameras, if there's gonna be an accident, I just hope there's cameras to,
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna echo a lot of the comments that have been made, about, that you just made and Dino and Stephanie made about the, the safety of pedestrians in the intersection. This is this plan is gonna increase throughput and speed up traffic through that intersection, which is good. But of course, the downside of that is that drivers are gonna feel that they can move more quickly through the intersection and they're gonna try to make turns more quickly. Because there's less resistance from the congestion itself, right? I think it's really important that you consider some kind of traffic calming in the intersection, right? Something to prevent people from cutting the left turns short, trying to make very quick left turns onto 92nd Street, for example, right? Because and like some other people have said, to allow for the fact that people are going to cheat, right? Like people are going to be going in the lane that's supposed to be a no turn lane, and they're going to suddenly cut over and try to make a left that they didn't realize that they wouldn't be able to make. And all of that puts pedestrians at a lot of risks. And I don't think we can rely on drivers to follow the rules. I don't think we can rely on pedestrians to follow the rules, especially in an area where we have a lot of schools, a lot of children coming through that intersection. So some sort of like physical traffic calming, I think, is extremely important there.
So, I'm gonna have DOT address that, your question, but, I do have some perspective about drivers following the rules. And what we see in our facilities is that, when people get frustrated, when they're in traffic, when they're stuck in a queue, when they see the light changing 2 or 3 times, they stop following the rules, okay? And they go through red lights and they go through pedestrian intersections, and that's when we end up with accidents. And we see it on our bridge when we have some incident on the bridge, or there is a collision. And what usually happens is there's a backup, and then people are waiting in the queue, and then they get frustrated, and then and then they do make illegal moves. They change lanes illegally, and then they cause another accident, right? So what we're seeing here, especially during peak period in the morning and sometimes in the afternoon and sometimes even on weekends, is that the intersection is not working as it should as far as efficiency. So it results in backing up traffic. People get frustrated. They start making illegal turns. They're going all the way from the left lane across 2 or 3 lanes to make a right-hand turn. Then they cut somebody else off, and that causes collisions. And that puts everyone at risk. It puts the drivers at risk. It puts pedestrians at risk. So I think by fixing this problem with this intersection and getting traffic to flow more efficiently and allowing for every phase of the signal to clear, not only would be safer for the vehicles, but it would be safer for everyone in the area, including the residents, including pedestrians. So now I'll just turn it over to Greg
I
and
think we have the.
no, to answer his question, if they want to add anything to that.
Thank you.
Yeah, what Larry said is true. With the reduced congestion, because then that would cause less aggressive behavior. But then on the other hand, this traffic is coming off a bridge. It's very high speed, and now you're coming to a signal. So we do understand that concern. That's always a concern. Whether it's an exit from a highway, here it's an exit from a bridge, which is basically a highway. And now all of a sudden you come to a signal, so the drivers are, they may not slow down. So we understand that, and we'll take a look. I don't have any ideas right off the top of my head, but we certainly understand that concern.
All right, thank you so much. And yeah, yes, I wanted to give the residents a chance.
Now, if you clean that intersection and now the traffic is flowing, are you doing anything on 92nd Street to further push the traffic? Is there any adjustments going to be?
That's a very
Once
good,
they make the turn, because with the buses piling up to let people off and on, and the traffic, and then the other traffic going onto the bridge, I think that's really what causes the bottleneck back up to our corner, is because once you go on that overpass, you're at a dead stop.
Yeah.
so
what
there's
do
a
you
very
do
good,
to get it?
there's a very good question, and there's more in the presentation that addresses that. So we haven't gone that far yet.
Yes, wanted to give the residents a chance.
I don't know if I'm really following it. You said that the upper bridge would not be allowed to make a left turn, right? If you're coming off the upper bridge.
No, you will be able
The
to.
left, yes, you can make.
If you're
No,
coming from the
left.
upper level, you can make either left, right, or go straight. All those three.
And Dahlgren is technically on the upper level exit.
Mhm.
Yeah,
So we have to get over to there just to get out to the bus.
Yeah, you'll be able to make a left.
yeah.
So what's the lower level then? There,
The lower level's left.
they're left.
Left or straight from the lower level.
You said that the majority of the traffic is trying to go straight. You said that earlier. That's kind of not true. Because everybody's trying to either make the left to get to Third Ave or or the right. 92nd only goes on Downbridge, only goes to 86th Street. So there's not a lot of traffic just going to 86th Street, then making the right or the left. They're either making the left on 92nd, going through the 2 lanes, making the left, or they're making the right. Most of them running the red light, but making the right. But that straight run that you said, most people want to go straight. That's not really the case.
Well, that's not me saying
Well,
that.
but I'm just saying.
That's not me. Hold
I'm
on.
not-
I'll answer your question. That's not me saying that.
Okay.
The traffic numbers are saying that because traffic counts were taken. So Greg, can you answer, Roger, can you answer that question?
Straight, because they want to go on the Bell Parkway. They're using 92nd Street to take the shortcut onto the Bell Parkway.
No, I
That's
ain't
the
going
mission.
straight towards.
Straight to 86.
Roger, can you explain
There
that?
there are over 900 vehicles that go through.
I can't hear him.
There are over 900 vehicles per hour that go through northbound through on 90 on Dahlgren Place, and 1 lane is not enough for that. 900. So these are real numbers.
Okay, can I ask you how many?
There's
make
about
left and how
400
many
that
right?
turn left. 400 turn left, 900 go through, another 400 turn right during the peak, the morning peak.
Turns.
400 left, 900 through, 400 right.
So only on 2 going straight, that's it.
Say again?
No, I said
Because they want to get on.
I don't see it, but okay.
He said there's 400 vehicles making a left. There's 400 vehicles making a right. And there's 900 vehicles going straight. Correct.
Because they want to get on to the highway.
They're either going to
So get rid of.
86th Street when they get off the bridge, or they get, going further down in Brooklyn.
When we got here tonight, before the meeting started, we had told a little anecdote about tonight, before we left the house. If you look at that picture there, you see the H of Dalvin Place, that's where my house is.
Mhm.
I'm about 10 feet below the stop sign for the upper ramp. We just decided to count cars tonight. No rush hour, everyone driving nice and calm. We counted in the course of about 15 minutes, 81 cars. 4 cars made a complete stop. 19 cars made a slowdown. The remaining cars lasted through at 30 or 40 miles an hour. What we're saying here tonight is great, but if there's no enforcement, it's meaningless.
True.
Up there, you have the no
Is there any
standing,
sound?
11 a.m. People are gonna, right now, every night, someone parks at the no standing across the street from my house. There's a sign that says no standing. There's also a hydrant there. They park in the hydrant, about 3 nights out of the week, every week. There is absolutely positively no enforcement whatsoever.
I have no sound. Anyone here?
Larry, please mute.
The police don't come. I mean, they used to come years ago when we first moved to the block 40 years ago. That made make a fortune. There'd always be a police car about 50 feet down from the stop sign, waiting for the guys to come off the bridge at high speed and pull them over. You know, that's not, that doesn't happen. The thing about the intersection, I mean, I think there's a lot of sense that's being made there, but for the first 6 to 8 weeks, if you don't have police officers, not traffic enforcement agents, because nobody respects them, a police officer with the power to ticket at that intersection for the first 8 weeks when this becomes effective, people might learn. But until they learn by doing, this is not gonna happen.
Okay, we have some attendees online that I'm gonna call. Jessica Bowman. Jessica, you should be able to unmute now.
Great. Thank you. Couple of questions. Is there any reason why the upper level can't exit at the next exit and just bypass Dahlgren completely? Because that area right there is so dangerous, and all of this looks great on paper, but quite frankly, people walking, they're really putting their lives at risk, because people don't pay attention. They're on their phone. They're all hot to move very quickly. And that's very concerning. The second thing is, why can't we put speed bumps on that road?
Hello? Someone answer.
In close proximity to each other, so it forces people to slow down and pay attention. And then the third thing is, when you go north on 92nd Street, that crossing there where I believe there was an accident, there's a sign there that actually says no trucks permitted down that street unless they're making deliveries. How do we protect pedestrians from trucks that are not paying attention to that sign? I mean, is there any other means of keeping those trucks off that road? Because in many cases, they're just going straight to get on the BQE. So this all looks great on paper. I just, in practicality, I don't know how it's going to prevent, people getting killed, basically.
Thank you, Jessica. Anyone want to?
Like Roger said, NYPD is in charge of
Hold the sound
enforcement,
off.
and
Larry, please mute.
we can work with them and try to get them to enforce both the no standing and the trucks and everything that was just mentioned. But I can't make any promises. NYPD works very well with us, but they don't have unlimited resources. We'll try to get them out there, especially as soon as this gets implemented for the first several weeks. But unfortunately, I can't make any promises about that.
Okay, thank you.
Speed humps on the upper level, it does allow trucks, and they're not compatible with speed bumps, and same with the buses. They would be very loud for the local neighborhood community and cause some operational problems for those vehicles. So it's not a good place for speed bumps, unfortunately.
Thank you. Sean McMahon. Sean, you're able to unmute. Sean? Okay, I'm gonna go to the next person. Jean Serro. Jean? You should be able to unmute.
Yep. Thank you so much. I have a question about the signage on that north pedestrian walkway and the east pedestrian walkway. The north will allow you to cross, and the east will remain, the north will go red, so you're not supposed to cross, but the east will remain that you can cross. You have a few seconds once you get across that north crosswalk, you have a few seconds to get across 92nd Street onto the south side. And I can tell you, I've done it myself. I will run to get across that, but that's too short a time. I have the ability when I'm starting, it still allows me to cross, but it's much too short a time for children, for older people. I think that signage should be looked at. And I think there should be more pedestrian signage written to let people know what's going on, because I think that's what happened to that man on the corner of 92nd and Dahlgren. I don't think he understood what he could do and what he couldn't do, and he just said, I'm going to cross.
Thank you,
I think
Jean.
there's some education that needs to go on. Along with lengthening the amount of time that the pedestrian has to cross the two crosswalks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The improvements that were made to the signal timing were in response to that incident. So the intersection is designed to be, basically exclusive crossings. So you don't have interference from any vehicle turns now as a result of that incident. I mean, it's trying to improve the safety of the intersection in general. The DOT made a big effort to maximize safety here for those crosswalks.
Thank you. Eileen Sacco?
Hi, everyone. I have a bunch of different things. One, just to let you know, I live behind both ramps, and I work in Staten Island, so I come off the lower ramp pretty much every day and have to go around the block and turn right. My first thought, I don't like the upper roadway when it's inclement weather or windy or whatever, but the first thing I thought of was I'll just go to 86th Street and come around instead of going around, if I can't make the right turn there. So I think that, I'm not the only one who's going to think that. And I think you're going to be pushing some traffic to 86th Street. That's number one. Number two, the lane that you're now making no parking, you do know that tow trucks use that all the time to drop off accident cars that were messed up. They're there almost every day. So I'm not sure that making it no parking or is going to do anything, because we still always have cars there that get into accidents. And the other thing is this, all of these turning and no turnings, these are all relatively new. I've been here for over 20 years, and I'm sure some of my neighbors double that. Why wasn't all this done when you did it the first time, if this is so dangerous?
I can say why. The exit was further up. So you had enough room in which you can make a left turn, right turn.
Right,
Now it's right there you have 1 second to decide left, right, straight. But when it was further back, you could actually decide. That's why we don't want that.
Right, but these turning lanes are relatively new in the scheme of the block. They weren't here when I moved in.
Thanks, Eileen. Anyone?
I'm not understanding. They were dangerous when we put them in.
Yeah. So if I can answer the question about the disabled area that's currently striped there, so that's going away. So vehicles that are in collision with the bridge will no longer be dropped off here.
Okay.
That would be nice.
Where are they gonna?
Instead of them being left there.
So when we reconstructed the Gowanus Expressway during COVID, what was that? Oh, sorry. So I lose track of years. So I think it was done right before COVID or during COVID. We added a fourth lane on the Gowanus Expressway going towards Brooklyn. And that was to make sure that traffic that was merging at that between the upper and lower level was backing up and causing backups. So we added a fourth lane. That's an MTA investment that was done, even though it was on the Gowanus Expressway, and went all the way to the Fort Hamilton exit. We also added a second exit lane at Fort Hamilton. If you recall, there was only one exit lane, and traffic was backing up at the traffic light and queuing onto the main line of the Gowanus all the way back to the Verrazano Bridge, causing accidents. So as part of that investment, we created a safe pullover area in that location. So that's the area that's going to be used now for dropping off those vehicles. It's between the main line and the Fort Hamilton exit. There is a safe pullover area. It's a very wide pullover area in order to safely drop off those vehicles, and that's where they'll be. So they will no longer be on the local street.
But disabled vehicles won't be able to get off and not coming off of the lower level.
Hey, somebody has a flat
How are they
tire,
gonna
how are
get
they gonna, where are they gonna go?
Well, how do they go across the bridge with a flat tire?
Yeah, how they gotta get off.
We're not gonna go there though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the disabled vehicles now are coming off and parking in that area.
But he's saying no more.
They won't be able
He's
to park
saying
there
no
anymore.
more.
But how, when you have an accident, what are you going to do in that area? What are you gonna do with those cars?
Well, if there's an accident on the bridge,
No, accident say just on the ramp, where they pull off, all them cars come off the top and they park them right there.
But he's saying they're not gonna do that anymore. They're
know.
not gonna leave them.
Where are you gonna get the cars? How are you gonna get them around?
You would tow the car to a different area.
correct.
I think with the
It's
base.
dedicated.
Yes,
That
correct.
stop sign,
Please, I have no sound.
actually stop at that stop sign, there's a good chance you're gonna get tapped in the rear. That's the problem, because everybody thinks that's, it's like Jersey, oh, I hit you and go.
No sound. How do I get the sound back on?
Larry. Stop sign.
Wait.
On your bridge, on the two stop signs. On coming off the bridge, nobody really stops. So if you stop at a full stop, there's a maybe 20-30% chance that someone's gonna hit you from behind, because they don't stop there. And I realize your lights are on and everything like that, but that's what the problem, I think it means that they're gonna tow them over to that side there. Because it happens every day, there's always some cars there.
There's only one company or person or group of people that stop at the stop signs. And those are Amazon truck drivers. This is a computer chip that gets downloaded at the end of their tours to see if they knows their routes. Do they stop at all stop signs? That kind of stuff. These guys get to the stop sign, they count to 3, and then they move through. But people behind them go crazy, but like Eddie's saying, but.
I have
but
one
they
more,
already listen to it.
I have one more attendee, Kelly Kilbride. Kelly, you can unmute. Kelly?
Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear
Okay,
you.
great. Yeah, I live on Dogman as well, and just to point out what one of my neighbors already mentioned about losing the parking spots. Well, I live on the block and I commute to work every morning. I drive around 7 o'clock in the morning. I don't have traffic going straight because I exit Dahlgren, I cross 92nd Street. There's never a backup. So, I know that they're doing numbers and tests, but as someone who actually lives here, that it's not true. What is true is the parking situation. We already lost spots on the corner. I agree with my neighbor about we have residents on the block that park in front of all the fire hydrants already because there's no spots and nothing. Every day people just treat it like their own parking spot. I know that's not under the people in this group's domain, but the lack of parking is just going to add to our grief on this block.
Thank you, Kelly.
Okay. All right, so then you have more that you wanted
Yes,
to
sure.
share with us as well.
Right, on 92nd.
Yes.
So there's a second phase to this. There was a question that you asked, right? So I'm going to turn it back over to Roger. You want to talk about the downstream improvements that DOT is considering?
Sure. Right now, there's a problem that was identified. Actually, we talked about this at the last transportation meeting about a month and a half ago, where it got brought up as an issue, where there's a lane squeeze here where this hatched out area is basically pushing over the left turn bay, and then the lane here adjacent to the bus stops becomes about I think it's about 8.5 feet wide at that throat where it gets really narrow. And so we're proposing is a first step to this intersection fixing that. So it will go from I guess it's 9.25 feet at that actual juncture. So you got 9.25 feet, and it's going to be brought up to 13.25 feet. So the idea would be to straighten this out, get rid of that hatching that's in the center, and kind of normalize this intersection so that the width stays the same throughout this whole area. And then restripe through the intersection here to clean up the markings a little bit.
Well, following those changes, we'll propose changes. Are you
Pardon?
following what
I
he's?
am.
Okay.
I'm listening.
So Roger, can you also explain how currently that lane squeeze causes buses to kind of encroach into the lane and then it backs up traffic? So now having more room now will allow the buses to stop at that bus stop and allow through traffic then to go around the bus and go straight without getting caught in congestion?
Yeah, it's one of the points of backup that was discussed earlier in the meeting for 92nd Street, where it's kind of constraint point. 92nd gets really narrow here, where you go from a 4-lane section to 2 lanes once you pass Fort Hamilton Parkway. So by keeping this lane full width, it makes it a lot more flexible for people to get around those buses that are stopping for passengers here. This is a major stop. And this solution straightens that congestion problem up. So we should be, I think, solving the problem. And then DOT would be monitoring this as well to see if there's any other changes that need to be made later to signal timing or anything else. But probably just the striping is going to do the trick here in terms of fixing that as a congestion point for 92nd.
Okay, thank you.
So we can continue then?
Yep.
We're okay.
Is that it with your presentation, Roger? Is there anything else? Nope.
No, just a thank you.
So, yeah,
Thank you.
but I'm just a little confused. Have you done signal studies at 92nd Street, or are you waiting for this to be implemented and then do a signal study? Because it seems to me that this signal has issues there that kind of also delays and creates backups. Has that been looked at yet, or that's going to be?
The geometric changes with the striping would be done first, and then if there's still a problem, then DOT would come back and take a look at the signal timing.
Understood, thank you.
Just one thing on the signaling should go all the way to Third Avenue. Every light changes against you. So when you
Right.
go one light, then the next light blocks you.
Yeah, we've had that complaint. We've had that.
Third Avenue. is one signal.
Yeah.
So
We're all going 25 miles an hour.
Right. We've had that request in the past.
my understanding, Greg, can you or expand on this a little bit? So once these striping changes are made, you guys are going to revisit the signal timing through this thoroughfare, especially in the peak morning period, and to ensure that we don't have backups from say Fort Hamilton backing up through all the way back to Dahlgren Place?
Yes. What was the comment that was just made about hitting the red light? Whoever said that, could you repeat that?
You come off, like go over 92nd Street, make the left, then you go up, you go past Fort Hamilton. Then you got the school, then you got 4th Avenue, 5th Avenue, all the way to 3rd. All those lights are against you. So when you get past one light, it blocks you. The next light, it blocks you again. So if they could have them in sequence, so the traffic would move right through.
So it's the synchronization of lights as traffic is moving from Dahlgren Place across Fort Hamilton and continues on to then 5th Avenue, 4th Avenue to 3rd Avenue. There's
Okay.
the synchronization of that traffic light system to be looked at.
Okay, we'll look at it. Let me just say this. First of all, 92nd Street is a two-way street. It's difficult to provide good progression for both.
Fort Hamilton is a turn.
It's working now.
Isn't there a turn lane?
Go
It's
ahead.
difficult to provide good progression for both directions, and we also have to worry about
Do you hear
the
him now?
avenues, the progression on Fifth Avenue and Fourth Avenue.
Alright.
So we'll take a look at it, but it's difficult on two-way streets to provide good progression for every single movement.
Understood.
But we'll take a look at it.
Third Avenue, you go down Third Avenue, it's, you just go down, you hit the green, now that's a two-way street, so I don't know what he's talking about. You down Fourth Avenue at 25 miles an hour, as long as you stay 25 miles an hour, you can very much hit every single light going down.
Question.
I've done it 3 or 4 times already.
Okay, thank you.
So
Okay,
I
we're
don't know
gonna go
what
back
two-way
to board
street that
members,
is.
with questions. Committee member Stephanie?
I was wondering if you'd be able to also examine bus driver behavior. I do not want to vilify the bus drivers. I understand that they're trying to stay on schedule, but very often at this intersection, whether they're coming across Fort Hamilton Parkway, turning from either side, they generally, whether or not they have right of way, they take the right of way, and just by their sheer bulk, they squeeze out other cars and block the intersection for through traffic. And it's just a very problematic intersection. Additionally, very often the buses do not pull up close to the curb when they're picking up or dropping off passengers. So if you could, if that could be examined, and again, I do understand the frustrations associated with this intersection. Thank you.
We'll follow up with our colleagues in buses.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you. Doris? Doris, you can unmute? We don't hear you.
Got it. I want to reinforce what Stephanie said. There's a definite bus issue at 92nd Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway in both buses in both directions. It is a on both sides, very busy intersection. Sometimes there are 30 people waiting for buses, and that's not a high estimate. That's very normal.
Wait, here, I unmuted it.
And the buses, there isn't enough room for the buses. Sometimes there are 3 buses turning onto 92nd Street from Fort Hamilton Parkway and 2 or 3 on the other side of the street. The bus issue there is really needs to be looked at.
Hi Doris, it's Rose. Is this something that you're seeing throughout the day, or is there like any particular time, like during peak hours, that you're seeing?
I can't say. I would say I tend to be there more off peak, not peak. You know,
This
it
is
happens.
Doris.
And then I would also, several years ago, there was a left turn signal added at 92nd Street and Fort Hamilton Parkway. And that left turn signal is a lifesaver. It's very important to the residents who live above 92nd Street. It saves lives.
Okay, we're gonna go back to attendees and finish this up. Sean McMahon, Sean, are you able to unmute now? I see your hand is up again. You didn't get to speak last time. Sean, you should be able to unmute. I don't know, I'm having trouble. All right, Sean, we're gonna skip over Jessica Bowman. Jessica?
Hi, just going back to the what someone brought up about pedestrian education. I'm just so that I know, as someone who walks these intersections, can someone speak to the change that was made in the signaling, the split signaling, I think you called it, for what I deem the most dangerous intersection, on the north side? Yeah, right. No, the other side. Yeah, right there. Can we know, just so that we know when we're walking, what it was previously and what it is today? Because I think that's where the pedestrian was killed. Yeah.
Yeah, this intersection.
Previously, when 92nd Street had green, when it was green for 92nd Street, that north crosswalk across Dahlgren, that was walk at the same time, so that cars that have the green light, whether they're turning eastbound left or westbound right, they could turn into that north crosswalk at the same time that they had the walk signal. Now, that north crosswalk gets a walk signal before it's green for 92nd Street. And then when the steady hand goes up on the north crosswalk, then after that, it's green for 92nd Street.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry, how long? What's the timing of it so that we know how much more time we have? Because as someone else pointed out, when you start walking, you may have the green, and then by the time you're halfway through, you already have a red. So what's the difference in timing so that we can sort of understand
The north crosswalk, it gets a total of 18 seconds. It's 7 seconds walk, 6 seconds flashing don't walk, and then there's 5 seconds of steady don't walk before the traffic on 92nd Street is released. So it's a total of 18 seconds.
Thank you. We're gonna go to AT. AT, you should be able to unmute.
Hi, I walk with my children to their school PS 104, and I'm on Battery Avenue. I cross all of these intersections, and during the walking to school and from home and going home, there is a lot of traffic, so I appreciate the attempt to alleviate that. But on that left turn only from 92nd going north onto Dahlgren, there is that walk where there's no one allowed to go. However, there are many cars who go through that red. I have reached out to 311 and put in a request to DOT for maybe a red light camera. That was denied. I also asked NYPD if they could put some crossing guards on the exit ramp crosswalks as well as the entrance to the bridge, because a lot of people also ignore the sign that says you can only turn after 4 p.m. to go onto the bridge. So is there any way we can get red light cameras put in or have some crossing guards put over there?
Again, as I mentioned earlier, we will ask NYPD for this, but unfortunately, I can't make any promises.
Right. We could also we have in the past put in a red light camera request. We can certainly bring that back and make another request to DOT. We've also requested in the past NYPD crossing guards. Currently, the 68 precinct has an allotment of 35. We're down a few, I think down to 30. The board has in its district needs statement and each year presented a request for at least 5 additional ones, and this is at the top of the list. And we could certainly do that again as a board.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
Years ago, we asked that.
I remember.
Years
Yeah,
ago, we
no,
asked
it's
for
been a
something
few
to be
years.
put, especially when they're going onto the bridge. because
It's
at
definitely
that
on.
time, We didn't have the green light, they just went on whatever they wanted. We asked that question to that, so.
Yeah.
Can I ask just a really quick related question on this very specific topic? Are there any restrictions on using MTA bridge and tunnel police to provide traffic control? Are they not allowed to do that in that intersection?
Well, as I'm sure you noticed, we no longer have TBTA.
Well, they consolidated.
Now
right,
it's
right.
MTA
Yeah.
police, and to be honest, I am not that familiar with whatever their policies is regarding that, so I will check. I do know that TBTA officers were peace officers and they were limited to our facilities. But MTA PD, they may be able to go beyond that.
I think MTA PD is like a state, has
We can
statewide
check
jurisdiction.
with them and see if that's a possibility.
I think it can, would be very, very, very good.
Right, and that's something that several our board members and our residents have also brought up about the need for really looking at where cameras can help to capture some of the violations
city
that
would
they've
make a
been
lot of
living
money.
with on a daily basis.
So, speaking of that, I know it's not on Dahlgren Place or on 92nd Street because that's not our jurisdiction. That's city DOT. So that request has to go to the city.
Okay.
But, as far as, enforcement of speeding on our bridges, when we do have contractors working on our bridges, especially during off-peak when traffic is light. And then we take lane closures to do maintenance or construction work on our bridges. It's a safety concern because when traffic opens up, there's speeds go up. And enforcement on a bridge is very challenging because there's no shoulders to pull somebody over. Right. And what we're doing is we have contracted with an entity that is going to do mobile camera enforcement. Legislation was passed recently that allows us to do that. So we will have more mobile enforcement units that will be parked in the when our contractors are taking a lane for or to do their work, they'll be parked safely in the closed lane, and there will be signs in advance advising all the drivers that are passing this construction zone that there's speed cameras to let them know that there's enforcement. We think that this is going to have a behavioral change with folks that are currently going over our structures, and especially when they see construction done and they don't slow down, because we've seen. Yeah, and recently, you're right, and there's a trend with especially with some of the younger drivers where I don't know what they're doing, modifying their cars, and it makes this awful loud crackling noise. Yeah. And that's something that it's,
Take a shower, okay?
but yeah, so we are taking initiatives on our facilities, on our bridges to do speed enforcement to change behavior for drivers to get them to slow down, because it is a risk to our own maintainers and our construction workforce that's on the bridge working.
So I just want to be clear that the work zone speed enforcement programs, per the legislation, are only allowed to do this in active work zones. If there is not an active work zone, we are not able to, have the program be active at that given time.
But it's also not practical because when we don't have an active work zone, that means all lanes are available for traffic. And you can't park a vehicle on a bridge in a live traffic lane for speed enforcement. So we take the opportunity when we do take lanes out of service, and that's, again, it's during off-peak. It's when we have plenty of capacity, so we're not causing congestion, that when we take lanes out of service, and we will have this enforcement in place.
What about sound cameras? Do you know anything about that?
Well, that,
I know what the trucks coming off to use those brakes, engine brakes.
air brakes, yes.
Yeah, and they're terrible.
I believe it's DEP,
DEP
right?
has those cameras.
Yes,
yeah.
it will have to be DEP.
We have one more question from a board member, Dino. I'm sorry, Dino, you have another question? I think that's a new hand.
Just real quick, back to the topic of pedestrian safety on the crosswalks, and especially on Dahlgren and Fort Hamilton Parkway. Why, or has there been any thought put into, like, a Barnes dance or something like it, where all intersections, are red, and pedestrian traffic is allowed in all directions. So pedestrians can go whenever they need to go, and then they don't block, like, turning vehicles. There's no, like, conflicts between cars and pedestrians.
There is a Barnes dance for 18 seconds. For 18 seconds.
That's not very long, though. There's a lot of, older adults, people with disabilities. They need more than 18 seconds to cross.
Well, during that 18 seconds, that's the only time for this crosswalk. And these crosswalks, this crosswalk here gets a total of 27 seconds. So it gets 18, that one there gets 18 during the Barnes dance, and also 9 seconds before the Barnes dance.
So the longest one gets about what,
27
seconds. Yeah. That's not very long.
No, it's not, but if we increase it, then we got to take the time from somewhere else.
if it's gonna save a life worse than a street, I think it would be wise to take it from somewhere else, because this is an elderly neighborhood where they're all walking around with walkers.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we got everybody online.
Yes.
Okay, so we got all of our board members, our residents had a chance to share their feelings. This is gonna be an ongoing dialogue, just as we had with our person representative from Zavarian earlier. This has to be an ongoing dialogue because as things are put into place, it's our residents who have the eyes and ears who see this on a daily basis, who really can bring points up to the community board so that we can be sure to share it. We heard a lot of suggestions and ideas that we can also share.
Yeah, I do think that, some of the recommendations that were made by the folks here, the residents here, are things that we should ask. I mean, first of all, during implementation, we must ask the NYPD to provide several weeks of coverage. Traffic control coverage here. We can revisit the school crossing guard request. We can revisit the with the DOT. We can also revisit the barn stands timing. I mean, that was raised by several residents here to see if there is a possibility to tweak it. I mean, these are comments and feedback I think we could include in the letter.
Potential cameras, the potential for cameras was.
The potential for cameras, right, red light, speed and, additional and the DEP sound cameras as well.
And traffic calming, like center line hardening for the left turns.
Will this take place?
What's the timing?
Will you start this change?
Well, we haven't committed to a date yet, but it could be this summer, sometime this summer.
Okay, yes.
I just wanna thank you, because I came to the last meeting again, and you were so generous to listen to everybody's comments and try to answer everybody's comments. And you did the same thing tonight, I just wanna thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, the timing at 92nd Street, once if the changes are implemented, if necessary to visit timing if that's necessary. Let's see. Some members raised the possibility of a raised crosswalk. I know speed bumps are out, but DOT does have other calming measures in the toolbox, if that's possible. There were concerns too about, and I think the misbehavior in the concern about in the central part of the crosswalk. I think the first few weeks of enforcing the proper behavior would be important. And I think that's
Now, with any change, there is a transition period. So you're not going to see all the benefits on day one because there is a learning curve associated with the driver behavior. Many of the drivers that come off of both of these ramps use these on a regular basis. They're commuters. And once these new changes are going to be implemented, it will take a few weeks, possibly a month and a half, in order to fully see the benefits of these changes. And we see that every time we do any type of modifications on our facilities, because drivers are used to doing the same thing every day without really thinking about it. We put up signs and the out-of-towners read the signs, but the locals, they don't pay attention to the signs. So it does take a while for the regular commuters to adjust to change. So we recognize that. And I think some of the valid points that were made here is enforcement. When you first make the change is important.
Yeah.
And we will work with the folks here and the city DOT folks to try to get enforcement. We will stress on your behalf that it's important to you that NYPD supports this initiative. Like I said, we can't commit for them, but certainly we can try and ask. But I want to first of all, I want to thank you for your patience, number one. I know it takes time to go through these initiatives and study and come up with solutions, and for taking time away from your lives. This is important enough for you where you're taking time away from your lives to come here and share your concerns. So it's important for us to listen to your concerns and to take them into account. That's why we're here. So we're trying to make things better. And we think that, and we feel that based on the solution that we proposed here, we know that there's some trade-offs, as I mentioned earlier, but at the end of the day, This will improve safety overall for the community. It'll improve safety for our customers that use the bridge. And we do believe that this solution is going to go a long way with alleviating a lot of these concerns. Is it going to solve every problem? No, I don't think so. This is a very challenging area traffic-wise, but it'll go a long way in improving it, we believe.
So I think, Jane, we just need a motion to provide the feedback.
Right.
And I would just tell everyone who's here tonight, I know this is a lot to digest. If you have any additional feedback you want to share with us, the flyer that was sent out that you all received have our email address. I also dropped it in the chat for our attendees that are online. I was happy that we had about 20 residents online as well. So if you want, we make a motion, we'll put all the, I've kind of said that we don't have to reiterate it for time because we do have some more on the agenda.
Thank you. So Jonathan, I saw your hand go up. Thank you. And Carmen seconded. So all in favor of sending this feedback letter? Thank you. And you'll just check online for our voting. We have
Yes.
everybody in favor here at the table.
Okay.
I said when you came in, I really appreciate the fact that you have this calm, cool demeanor.
Oh, thank you.
And you just make things so easy that when friends who live in that area, I can re-explain it to them with ease and a sense of security also. You had one block to work with, and I sympathize with you. And I know it's gonna be hard on people losing spots. This is something we deal with all throughout Bay Ridge. But when you have somebody who's doing his job, but also has his heart in what he's doing,
Very
you can tell.
important, we
Yeah.
And by the way, I just want to stress, we, you know, when we looked at this and when Roger and DOT looked at this, that was a major talking point because we recognize this is important. This is 6 parking spots that are being taken away. So we also, that's why we limited the downtime when these parking spots are not going to be available. It's during peak hour in the morning. So on weekends, they're available. And after, what is it? What are the hours?
11 a.m.
After 11 a.m., they're available. So it's during that time frame where we have that morning rush, that commute, that those 6 parking spots are not available. But they will be available all the rest of the time of the day and night, and then on the weekends as well. Now, we recognize that that's not nothing, and that's important to you. So we take this very seriously when we make these recommendations.
Okay.
When you see people parking in areas where they shouldn't be, I have a family, I live around the corner. I have a family that parks every single day at the pump.
Yeah.
And I used to call 311. What you just said remotivated me to start doing it because we've had the police here. They're understaffed. And they really try hard. They can't be everywhere. They know all these problems already. But 311 helps.
And we have
build
2
up
other,
those numbers.
thank you. We have 2 other agenda items.
And thank you, everyone. who
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna give this a few minutes to, you don't have to stay, you're always welcome to stay, but I know you want to go.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Okay, okay.
Thank you for all your feedback.
And if you could just stop the share, I'm having trouble on my, thank you. Be careful, everybody.
We'll take care of that. We got that still. All right. All right, so we'll just be one moment.
I can take it.
Thank you.
Oh, it takes time, it takes time.
Because I know 7th Avenue, you see 7th Avenue.
Yeah.
7th Avenue, they're ruining the area. Because of they did this for bike. Big street like this. For bike you want. When a day they do the bike, they go through in there and they're ruining.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. Okay, we're just waiting for the district office to clear out a bit. Just give us 1 second.
You be careful, friend.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
Thank you too.
I'm gonna go night.
Okay, so.
All right, so now we're going to continue with our next item, which is an update by representatives of New York State DOT regarding upcoming rehabilitation of the Owl's Head Viaduct over 61st Street.
And we have Gregory is it Greg? No, I'm sorry, New York State, Rolando. Tomas? I think you have you here from New York State DOT.
Lekha Gopal. Lekha
Oh,
Gopal.
and Alika Gopal, I'm sorry, you're on mute.
Yeah.
Okay,
Can you
great.
hear me?
I can hear you now, yes.
Okay, I'm going to share my screen.
Great, thank you.
Oh, no, can you see the screen or?
Yes, I could see the screen.
Okay. One second. Okay. Can I start the presentation?
Yes,
now?
you may.
Good evening. Thank you for accommodating our presentation for today's meeting agenda. My name is Lekha Gopal. I am from State Department of Transportation and the project manager of bridge rehabilitation of Owl's Head Viaduct over 61st Street, Kings County, New York. The purpose of this presentation is to provide the details of this project as a follow-up of our presentation back in 2024, and also respond to any questions you may have and gather your inputs and comments. We will take all your questions and comments at the end of this presentation. As you've seen in the map, this is the map shows the project location. The left end of the map is the left end limit, which is exit 1 on the Bell Parkway, spans through the Shore Parkway to the right end to the Gowanus Expressway near 60th Street. This bridge goes over a parking deck of Bay Ridge Towers, John Allen Payne Playground, and Tom Joyce Soccer Field, in addition to several local streets underneath. So let's look into the existing condition of the bridge. This bridge was originally built in 1940 and the major rehabilitation took place in 1963 and 1983. It means the last major rehab took place around 40 years ago. As you've seen in the screen, the bridge deck is deteriorated, joints are leaking, deteriorated or corroded steel superstructure and steel members, which reduces the load carrying capacity of the structure. Currently, this structure is load posted for 15 tons due to the structural deterioration of the structural members. And also, the existing railing and barriers are non-standard and the drainage structures are clogged and obsolete. All this causes the structural deficiency of the structure. Ultimately, it is a safety concern to the traveling public. So the objective of this project is to ensure the safety and the reliability of the viaduct to the traveling public by repairing the existing deteriorated steel members and replacing the concrete deck. We also anticipate to improve bridge safety by upgrading features like bridge parapets and median barriers to meet current safety standards, as well as improving drainage within the structure and making the driving conditions safer. And also we are anticipating to install glare screens to ensure the safety of nighttime drivers. Other objective of this project is to increase the load carrying capacity of the structure. That way we can remove the existing load posting on the structure and also extend the life of the structure and reduce the life cycle cost and maintenance repair. So by considering all these objectives, we are proposing following improvements: deck replacement, joint replacement, repair of the deteriorated substructure and steel structure elements, and bearing replacement, install new concrete barriers, new drainage scuppers and downspouts, new viaduct lighting, highway lighting, and new underdeck lighting, new sign structures, ITS camera, some ITS work, and steel painting of the viaduct. These are the main proposed enhancements. Also, as a part of this project, we are proposing some enhancement to the John Allen Payne Playground. New York State Department of Transportation, along with the City Department of Parks, have discussed this proposed enhancement in detail with the Community Board of Parks and Environment Committee back in March 9th of this year. Also, we met with the New York City Public Design Commission, PDC, on April 20th of this year, and they received their preliminary design approval for this enhancement. So basically, we are proposing to construct a new skate area, expand the planting bed, restore the existing handball court, and additional park entrance to the 64th Street, new pickleball court, and the new fitness area, and a new drinking fountain and bottle fillers, some fencing, and access ramp with ADA ramps. So also we are proposing the bird repellent system underneath the viaduct. This was one of the suggestions from the community when we met last 2 years ago. And new lighting in the playground. So you can see some, I included only a few slides here, which is from the previous meetings we had with the PDC and the Community Board of Parks and Environment Committee. So this the viaduct construction is going to be a staged construction, and we are anticipating to maintain one lane westbound and one eastbound lane on the viaduct open to the traffic throughout the construction. Entrance and exit ramps will detoured overnight or weekends only. Detours will not be concurrent. Portable variable message system, PVMS system, will be deployed at the critical locations to alert the drivers of detours. Traffic enforcement agent and the pedestrian managers to be provided at each intersection along the detour route. X27 and X37 bus route may be retoured in coordination with the MTA during construction. So we just want to give you some detail of the 3rd Avenue ramp entrance closure during construction. So we are anticipating a ramp closed on weekends. It means Friday 11 p.m. to Monday 5 a.m. We are anticipating a maximum of 20 weekends closures. So during that time, we provide the passenger car vehicles and buses will temporarily retour to the Bay Ridge Avenue and Bay Ridge Parkway. And approximately 1% of truck traffic use this ramp to get into Gowanus Expressway. During the ramp closure, trucks will stay on the 3rd Avenue to Hamilton Avenue and enter to Gowanus Expressway near the Scarrier Tunnel. That is our proposed detour for the ramp closure. And we are anticipating to maintain 2 lanes of traffic, 1 lane in each direction on local streets underneath the viaduct. 2nd Avenue, 3rd Avenue, and 60th Street through 65th Street throughout the construction. Sidewalks and bike lanes, that is Brooklyn Waterfront Greenway, to be maintained during construction. City bike stations at 64th Street and the 3rd Avenue to be temporarily relocated during construction. We are in coordination with the New York City Bike Group, and the contractor will notify them 6 weeks before the construction in the vicinity start. And the temporary lane closures during the construction are coordinated with the New York City DOT, OCMC, and the Emergency Services, FDNY, and NYPD. So other mitigation measures during construction, we are primary and secondary shieldings will be erected under the bridge for entire width of the structure. This will protect the pedestrians from dropping materials. And we are implement dust control measures to protect workers and adjacent community. Also, we monitor the construction noise as per New York City noise code and implement noise control measures. Containment system to be used for paint removal operations. New York State Department of Transportation will perform air quality monitoring for ambient particulate and lead during abrasive blasting and cleanup. And as I mentioned during the construction of the Payne, John Allen Payne playground, the playground is anticipated to be partially or intermittently closed during construction. We are in close coordination with the New York City Department of Parks, and comfort station and entrance will remain accessible throughout the construction. And other area, it will be intermittently closed during construction. And the project schedule, anticipated schedule, letting is in this fall, and the construction start in the beginning of 2027. And the construction viaduct completion is in fall 2030. So that's all our presentation. Thank you for listening. And we will take the questions right now.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much. You know, one of the things that has recently come up to us has been all about the issues that they are having around the towers. And that is of a great concern because they're already experiencing the weakening of structures and they're not able to use their parking deck and the balconies. And I'm just very concerned that it is in such close proximity to the neighbors living in the Bay Ridge Towers and any structural impact this might have on an already fragile part of our community.
Yeah, I mean, maybe suggest too that we connect you with the contractors and the team at Bay Ridge Air Rights. Because they currently have contractors, and you may be well aware of this. The undermining of their parking structure. There's a full vacate order, and they have they're in the process. They've installed temporary shoring. Not only of the parking deck, but also the nearby street of 65th Street opposite the precinct has undermining there as well. So I think it's important that we coordinate and help you coordinate with the contractors, both DEP, DOT, and the Bay Ridge Air Rights contractors as we prepare, as you're preparing to move forward with this project, since it's falls above the Bay Ridge Towers parking area and there.
And
Yeah, definitely. We are in coordination with the tower, whoever is concerned about that. Right from the beginning, we were in, and also we have a special notes and a special in our contract. We have to monitor that parking deck at the vicinity when the contract is working at the vicinity of this parking, our viaduct work at the vicinity of this parking deck. We are aware of this supporting shoring provided and everything. But whatever happening, we are not anticipating to get very limited, no access. That is what we are anticipating right now. Our contractors or heavy equipments, nothing. State DOT contractors are not getting into the parking area, or they have no or limited access, and we are monitoring the condition of the deck while any work happening at its vicinity. That is the state. We are in coordination. Thanks for letting us know.
All right, thank you. Staley.
Hey, so I really appreciate the work that you're doing at the playground underneath the viaduct. And I was wondering if there is any way to expand that work to include the street next to the park. So again, you're probably totally aware of this, that the DOT recently redid that intersection and they added curve bulbs or curve outcroppings right into the street where they stripe a no parking zone farther out into the street. One of the things that we had discussed when DOT did that is putting planters there or putting some sort of like, something in the street to prevent people from parking in these no parking zones they've created. And this is right alongside the park that you're already doing renovations on. I'm wondering if you can integrate something like that into your project, because these no parking zones that DOT created are essentially useless because people park in them all the time. And it's because there is no kind of like planters or boulders or whatever in them that to prevent people.
So we cannot promise anything in this project. We are in the very late in the game right now. I will definitely put this attention to our upper management and any other projects or something. But this was very, all our resources and our funding and everything, we can, and also it's very late.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just bring it up because I think it'd be a natural extension of what you're doing in the playground anyway, and a relatively inexpensive extension of that work.
Yeah,
I really appreciate that.
definitely we will. Thanks for letting us know this. We will definitely make a note of that and any other projects, or we will try to pay attention to that and keep it the state DOT's attention. We will definitely make a note.
All right, thank you. Carmen and then Larry.
I don't know if I saw this, your plan for the park. Is that the park where there's the ball field? Is that the one that's gonna be converted, or is it the one across the street that's gonna have all the? Is the ball field gonna be taken out then?
You mean that soccer
No,
field?
the soccer
The
field?
soccer
Yeah.
field,
I believe is that John Allen Payne.
Yeah, not the soccer field. Soccer
no,
field,
that's no.
we are not doing anything. It is as it is, nothing. It is the other, it's the playground over there.
Yeah,
Across the street.
across the street.
Yes, 64th Street and the
Oh,
3rd
60.
Avenue. Yeah, that is the John Allen Payne playground. That's what we were talking about.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Was there any?
Larry?
I was some kids, yeah.
Larry, can you unmute?
I unmuted. Do you
Okay,
hear
we
me?
can hear,
I
yes, we
can't
can
hear
hear
you, but I can see a transcription.
Okay.
Okay, so ask your question.
All right, my question is, what is the means of bird proofing on this underside of the structure? How and who will maintain it?
It's last time we got some comments, and from when we came here 2024, we had some comments from the community saying that the underneath the bridges and the bird poops and all kind of issues with the it's a very safety of the public, or it is for the kids playing around, and then that is why we took note of that, and we are proposing this bird repellent system, because we are constructing all these underneath that bridge, and that may protect from bird poops and that kind of the health safety issues. Maintenance of this structure is by a state. Whatever we are putting on our structure, it is maintained by the state DOT. That is your question, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm just saying,
Thank you.
may I add it, is it bird netting or something more substantial like a mesh, a metal, steel mesh that would.
Kevin, do
sound devices and
It'll be like the
Yep.
bird spikes or the bird coils. They'll be kind of sit on top of the steel flanges so that birds can't sit and perch on top of on the structure above.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Yep, no problem.
I don't know if there's any other.
I don't see any other
Okay.
questions.
All right, then.
So thank you very much. Is there anything that this state DOT requires of the board in terms of or is this just an update?
This is an update actually,
Okay.
and back in 2024, you guys suggested to come back when.
Yes, we did. Yes.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's why we are here.
Thank
Back.
you. Thank you so much. And if you could, just continue to keep in touch with schedules so that we can inform the public, as we progress, into the anticipated construction start,
Yeah.
as well as any updates you have, regarding, Staley's question. We would appreciate, we do appreciate the ongoing communication.
Yeah.
And I will share with you like the Bay Ridge Towers, construction information as well. So thank
Sure,
you.
thank you so much. This is the latest information. Anticipated construction start in beginning of next year.
Next
And
year.
this is, letting is in this fall. This is the anticipated. This any change or anything. This is the updated latest schedule. We will definitely let you know.
Okay, and there will be a community liaison assigned with this project once it begins, like most state DOT projects?
We will let you know.
Okay.
I don't have a name right now. We will let
Okay.
you know.
Perfect. All right, thank you so much.
Oh, hi, this is Rolando Infante.
Oh, hi,
Public
Rolando.
information.
Hi.
Hi. Just to let you guys know, I will be attending the district, as always, the district cabinet meetings. So if there's any updates that we have on our end, I will definitely, let you know during agenda items. And if there's anything that you have on your end with regards to the towers or the suggestions on the playgrounds or things of that nature, you have my email, you can call me, or we could just bring it up during the next DSC. So
Okay, great. Thank you.
so therefore it's a very open two-way communication, on this project and any others. And I appreciate the time as well.
Thank you so much. Okay. All right, so.
All right, so thank you for that. And then we have our one last item.
Yep, I know in the sake of time, and then we're over our 2 hours. Sorry. Oh,
Thank you so much.
thank you so much.
For having us today. Have a good night.
Have a good night. Okay.
I think it's actually dual purpose. Now I think about it.
Okay, committee.
I think they can play soccer now.
So I'm just gonna let the committee know really quickly if everyone could see my screen. The New York City dining out survey results. So as you know, 2 meetings back, the board sent out outdoor dining surveys to both residents and to businesses. And we did really well. Yes, we did really well. We got, well over 500, and we still have 550, and I think we still have a packet that we haven't entered yet. And that's in part to, we have an awesome newsletter that we have a 60% open rate, click rate. And Carmen Feliciano, member of the committee, she did a lot of street surveys and a lot of community facilities. She went out there with paper, and we've had an intern to input them. And basically what we heard from residents is that I think people really enjoy the sidewalk cafe dining way more than roadway. The expansion to year round didn't get positive feedback because of the climate, loss of parking, cleanliness. So 76% of those surveyed residents oppose year round roadway dining. And if we contrast that to the restaurants, we only heard back from 13, although we sent out to well over 200. So I just want to give you a quick update where we're at. Although we got a lot of phone calls from a lot of restaurants who, most of them who are not participating in the outdoor dining program did so under the temporary because of the need at the time. Most of them feel that they have enough enough inside capacity, and it's very difficult to expand, wait staff, et cetera, for outside. 60% of restaurants responded that they would not participate in roadway dining. Most of them cited the weather as the reason to refrain, that it really wasn't utilized. Nearly 70% participate in the temporary roadway, and only 30% are participating in the sidewalk, and only 1 that responded do both roadway and dining. And the top reasons why they mentioned roadway and also they commented on the year-round sidewalk, is that the city's current program does not permit heating or enclosures during inclement weather. And they thought that would be a really good idea. I spoke to about 5 restaurant owners who actually called and picked up the phone and said that we love the sidewalk year round, you know, and we would appreciate it if the board would send in feedback and comments that we would like to see enclosures, or heating or something to keep them going, because some, you know, those that do participate, do enjoy that. Now, I just want to share with the committee, I learned something new this past week that I didn't know before, is that enclosed sidewalk cafes that are existing were grandfathered in. However, they do have to apply for a license with the Department of Transportation. So we have 4 in District 10, 2 we heard last month, and 2 are in the queue to come back to us. So there is a process for enclosed sidewalk cafes. It's a little bit more extensive. I don't know if the city has looked at, you know, the possibility of enclosure to outdoor spaces. It might be something that they can explore that's not being explored now, because that was feedback that was, you know, given to us. Some municipalities, they say, in other cities do have, you know, the ability to provide some heating. You know, there was some of that during the temporary order, but I think that was the most interesting feedback that we had from restaurants who did submit the response. And again, most who indicated they didn't want it is because they have ample indoor space, and they felt that the additional outdoor was just not necessary. So we have a ways to go. We recently did an outreach back to them, to the restaurants who did not respond. It's a quick survey, so I'm hoping that we'll get some more feedback. But we got really good feedback from residents, I thought, with 550 responses. So we don't have an update yet from DOT and the city council of when that bill is progressing.
Right.
So we, you know, we may have some time, but we'll try to get an update. I did ask, and
Right, and we would want to share our responses with the
That's-
city council. So that what we have, you know, the residents and the businesses that we have heard from, that we could at least share
Yeah.
their voices and
I think-
elevate that.
I think it may be
Would
helpful.
make sense.
Okay, I know everyone looks anxious. Any questions?
So our goal is just to get more feedback now.
Yeah.
We're not
So
looking,
still
we're not looking
getting-
to.
Right,
to
because we
send
have
anything out.
time.
Yeah, I
Have
think we
time,
have some time,
but,
so.
You know, okay, all
right.
right. All right, well, thank
Yes,
you
sir.
all for coming. I think this was our
Well,
last point, and I appreciate everybody's time and attention, as this has been a really long meeting, but a good one. Thank you for coming out for our neighbors in our community. All right, thank you, everyone. See you at our general meeting on